In this Writer's Toolbox video, I really just want to go over the analysis motto. Now, when you're analysing literature or you're trying to communicate an analysis of literature, I want you to always say a lot about a little. Now, let's break that down and see what that actually means. We already have our leveled analysis system, where at level 1, we examine the text with a magnifying glass, focusing on the smallest parts of the system, in this case the text, and we consider the effect and purpose of language itself. We can ask questions like if we can see literary devices, particular use of style or language, or effective lexical choice. We can then ask what effect this has on the reader. What does it make them think of, or what does it make them feel? And we might ask why the author might have used it. After we've done this, we can move on to level 2. Now, level 2 examines the system as a whole. At this point, we have our reading glasses on. We've moved further away from the text. We've zoomed out a little bit. And we are thinking about what we've said in level 1 and how this relates to a whole, be it the whole character, setting, plot, tone, mood, or symbol. Finally, we zoom out even further and we look outside of the text as if we're standing on the top of a mountain with binoculars. We make broader connections that are connected to what we've said in level 1 and 2. Specifically, we can consider theme, these big ideas about what it means to be human. We can look at the historical context, the time and space from which the book was written as well. We might also consider other literature, other texts which are similar, which we can compare it to. We also look at established ideas. Now, this might be the literary movement from which the text emerged, the genre, philosophies pertaining to themes or characters, and psychology and a psychological analysis of characters or dreams, perhaps. And then finally, the author, their life and why that might be important, and the purpose of their particular presentation of things. So, remember, say a lot about a little. Now, I have this question. In what ways is Jack, the antagonist of Lord of the Flies, indirectly characterised as violent? Well, here's my claim. In the novel Lord of the Flies, through the description of Jack's application of a war mask, his descent into savagery and the violence of which he is capable is revealed. Then I have my evidence, contextualised and embedded. In Chapter 4, Jack, the leader of the hunters, decides to use materials to camouflage his face and body so that he can hunt. He uses materials such as charcoal, which he slashed across his face. Now, you can see here that I've only got 2 words in red. This is the a little, which the motto talks about. I don't want these huge block quotations. I don't want multiple sentences. I just want to be very particular and picky and take only the small pieces I need. Then comes the analysis. Now, we're all familiar with the level 1, 2, 3 tables here. And I start with level 1. Well, I ask myself, slashed, why might that be important? What is interesting about this particular choice of lexeme? Now, the word slashed makes the readers think of knives and violence and is chosen instead of rubbed or smeared. That's level 1. Moving on to level 2, then I can consider the whole, in this case the whole character. And I might say that Jack is indirectly characterised as violent and aggressive through this. Next comes level 3. And this is where I'm going to start thinking about these broader connections. Now, I want to note that they don't have to come in any particular order. You just have to ensure that things are connected and make sense. Now, in my example here, I'm going to start with theme, and I'm going to state that this develops themes of destruction and savagery as well as human nature. I can check that off. The next thing I might do, and again, they don't have to come in any particular order, but I might compare to another text. So in developing themes of destruction, this is important as Jack subverts and satirises similar adventure stories, which often saw British schoolboys as civilised hero, particularly The Coral Island by R.M. Ballantyne, where Jack gets his name. In The Coral Island, 3 boys, Ralph, Jack and Peterkin, are stranded on a desert island, but are able to behave civilly, are resilient and self-reliant, and defeat the savages they encounter. Well, I can check that one off. I've compared it to another text. Next, I might consider time and space, the historical context. As the novel was written in 1953 amid fears of nuclear war during the Cold War, and shortly after the violence the world endured during World War II, It is no surprise that characters are destructive in nature. There we go, I can check that one off. What about the author now? Well, Golding served in World War II and even fought during the D-Day landings. Seeing the violence of war caused Golding's view of human nature to shift to a more pessimistic outlook. He specifically stated that man produces evil as a bee produces honey. Check. Now I'm running out of space here, but I've still got established ideas to consider. Now, these might be movement, genre, philosophies, and psychological analysis. So let's start with movement. Well, I might write the destructive nature of mankind is a characteristic of the modernist movement of art and literature, appearing in the early 20th century, shortly after the war, making Lord of the Flies a piece of modernist literature. I might consider philosophies. Moreover, Golding's presentation of Jack is in line with Thomas Hobbes' philosophy of mankind, arguing the state of man is a violent one, and that without the role of authority to keep mankind civil, savagery will ensue. And finally, I can do psychological analysis. Adding to this, according to Freud's theories of psychoanalysis, Jack could represent the id, the subconscious part of mankind's personality which is driven by the pleasure principle, striving for immediate gratification and primal needs without the concern of consequences. The mask itself might even be a symbol for mankind's primitive subconscious. Now, when I put this all together, you'll really see what I mean by saying a lot about a little. Just looking at the colour-coded paragraph, I can see that my analysis far outweighs anything else. Now remember, the analysis is your words, not the author's, and so the analysis is the important bit. Now, I just want to reiterate that these things, these broader connections in level 3, be it theme, historical context, other literature, other pieces of literature, established ideas, or the author, don't have to come in a particular order, and you might not even use them all. But you should definitely be thinking about these things, and where it is appropriate, make these connections. By that, if something's not connected, don't put it in there for the sake of it, okay? You want to ensure that everything is always connected. And don't forget to finish with our relate statement. In sum, through the creation and application of a war mask, Jack's descent into savagery is revealed. Now remember, you want to say a lot about a little, and you want to include level 1, 2, and 3, particularly theme, historical context, other pieces of literature, established ideas, and author, when you're making this analysis. Thank you.